Hi all, my name is Ash Credlin. I'm the maker, carver behind AC Woodwork here in Australia. I've been carving spoons for 7 odd years now, and I have found a real passion for teaching and kind of showing how I carve. And recently I put a post up online talking about how axing was my favourite part of spoon carving. So I thought today I may as well axe out a spoon and kind of talk through why I like that and kind of what I'm doing. So today I've got some elm. You see it's wrapped in plastic. The reason why I wrap it in plastic, yes, it's not the most environmentally friendly option, but it keeps your wood green for so long. I live in a really hot area of Australia, and even in winter it doesn't even get that cold, so my wood dries out very quickly. So this kind of keeps me using green wood for 12 months or more sometimes, and it means I'm not having to throw out wood or just burn it for no reason because it's dried, and I'd rather not waste it. So yes, it's not environmentally friendly, but there's a purpose for it for me. So I'm just going to take off the bark on this. The elm bark is quite thick, as you can see. So I've got a spoon carving lesson next weekend actually, and the person I'm teaching has carved spoons before and wants to carve a little bit harder wood that's going to kind of push skill a little bit. So we've chosen some elm. I'm just going to square it up a little bit so I know what I'm working with. For those who haven't carved elm before, it's really cool. It looks like it's kind of chocolatey brown, but it'll actually change colour once you take that top section off. You'll see it's just oxidizing with the air a fair bit, so changing colour there. So what we're going to do is axe out a spoon, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. So first, what I will always do is cut my crank in. Some people will cut their crank in by hand, some will do it with an axe. I always cut mine in with an axe. With a saw. What am I saying? The reason why: accuracy, ease, how I've always learnt, I guess. So I cut it in about 10 mil thick. I don't know how big that is for you Americans, but 10 mil. If I want a straight handle, what I'll do is I'll start at the top here and go right down to the bottom of my cut. But I like a sweep in my handle. When it sits on the bench, you can get your hand underneath the handle if there's a curve to it. So I'll start halfway up, and I'll just put a couple of relief cuts in and work on the outside first, like that. I'll then do the same on the other side and just work on the corners. It's always easier to remove the corners and then the middle section. So remove that. Just want to clean up the face a little bit. Looks like there's a knot in the middle of that. There we go. Now what we're going to do is get a square face on this side so it sits flat, like this, and we want to take off this section here on a 45. So the way we do that is, instead of directly down because you'll get tear out, you go across and down at 45 in each direction. Takes a little bit of practice. Your hand sits nice and close up to the head of your axe, and you want to kind of slice off bit by bit. The reason why I like axing is because the closer you can get to your lines, the more accurate you can get it with an axe, the easier your carving becomes. And when you're a little newer to carving, most people will say, oh, that's rough enough, I'll take the rest off with a knife. But what you find is it will take you twice as long with a Sloyd knife and you'll be exhausted by the end of it. So what I've got here is the shape, which is my crank here, so it's down, 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 changes direction here, which is a third of the way through my bowl, and up again. I'll just square off the back a little bit so it sits flat on my block. Alright, controversial. Everyone has a different opinion. Templates. I'm a huge fan of templates. I don't like not carving with templates. People sell templates like Chris from the Wood Tamer. You can actually jump on there, and Chris is an Australian retailer of everything that you need carving. And he sells these ply templates, which are brilliant. The handle that's my favourite actually broke, so I've just got a paper version, so I'll put it on there next. So you just draw on your handle shape. Like that. Now we've got a spoon shape on there. So this wood here is quite straight grained. There's a slight twist in it here, but we should be able to split some of it off, I think. It's pretty thick though. But what we'll do to start with is cut in some stop cuts. Our stop cuts are my favourite thing to put in because they save me so many breakages. So the way we're going to do that is just before the neck transition here. We're going to put in a cut. Normally I'll have it turned around so I can see it. If you don't own a silky saw or some sort of pull saw, definitely buy one. They're amazing. They cut on the backstroke. Mine's not sharp, but when they are sharp, they are brilliant. Alright, we'll just thin out this back corner because it's quite thick. You might be able to, I don't have my splitting maul. No, I don't know if that's going to work. No. So trying to split that, this twisted grain's not working. So what we're going to do instead is put some relief cuts in. Relief cuts mean that you can pull out more wood when you're doing longer strokes a whole lot easier. So what you want to do is put a few up it, and you'll find a whole lot easier. Your axe won't bind in the wood as much. And you're taking off from, give or take, 2/3 of the way up the handle. Same on this side. And you see when I'm hitting it, I'll put in and then pull to the side. It's just breaking away the fibres so that my axe doesn't get as stuck. Once you've got that done, what we want to do is split off the sides here. So looking down your spoon handle, fingers at the top, go till your axe gets stuck, and then do a bump cut. And it'll pop off just like that. Same thing. Bump cut. And there we go. So we just want to take it down very gently to that line. You want to stop before that line. If you go through and you find as you're carving you're getting cracks in your bowl here, it's not that your wood's cracked or it's a dodgy piece of wood, usually you've hit it with your axe. Actually 9 out of 10 times you've hit it with your axe. So same on this side. You guys won't be able to see it. Stop before the end. Just like that. Perfect. Now what we're going to do next is to just clean up the sides a little bit so we know the rough profile of our spoon. And we've got all of this wood to remove off the back. So what we're going to do is work on this side, and then the middle. So there's a fair bit to remove on this side here. So I can kind of hit it pretty hard, take off some of that middle because it's pretty high, to see how much I need to remove off this side. Always look down over top of your spoon and you'll notice that my axe doesn't change direction when I'm hitting. You change the spoon angle with your hand to pivot kind of where you're carving or cutting off with your axe. So your axe is really only ever carving directly up and down. Once I've got that pretty close to where I'm happy for now, we turn it over and we want to knock down these sides like that. And with your hand here to the side, using the bottom part of your axe, this bottom section down here, I'm going to follow the line down and take this corner off. Just like that. Same on this side, but I'll turn it around. Then we knock it off. Perfect. So now we've got obviously a huge handle, so we're going to take some off of that. Same principle as the side, those relief cuts become really important. So you put those relief cuts in and you'll see they just cut out as opposed to binding up. A bit more off of that. The idea is you want as least amount of wood left on with your axe as you're possibly comfortable with, because it's going to save you a lot of sloyd time. Especially on elm, it's quite hard and damages your sloyd edges quite a bit. So we'll just knock off the top of that. So now I've got most of my spoon. I've still got a fair bit on the end here. What you can do, instead of axing it, if you're not quite comfortable, is use a saw. Just to cut that off the end there. And then just using the edge, the bottom part of your axe again, just to clean up those corners. Like that. And what we'll be left with is a spoon that's pretty well right to take to the sloyd, or the draw knife, whatever it is that you're looking to carve with. Let's put it that way. There we go. So you've got not a whole lot to remove around the sides. A little bit on the handle here, but that's not too bad, especially if you're using a draw knife, which I will when I get home. You've got a profile that is pretty good with a sweeping top. Again, like I said, when it's sitting flat, you can put your hand underneath your spoon handle. The back of the bowl doesn't have too much left on it, I'm not going for a ladle, so it doesn't need to be hugely deep, but that's more than deep enough. And we're left with a spoon. So hopefully you learned something or found it helpful. Leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. Got a new camera, so make a whole heap more videos, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. Have a good day.